This Toro came in with a complaint of only running when the choke was partially on. Now this normally means carburetor problems. Now let me show you what it looks like. Now the first step you're going to do is take off this filter, which is right here, which you just used by doing this. Take it off. There will be two screws in here. One right here and one right here. And they are Torx T27. What I do at this part is once I got them loosened, I just take the ratchet off and just unscrew them by hand. And then this whole assembly comes out. Remember, take lots of photos when you do this because you're always going to forget. And then you're going to have this, which takes a Torx 20 right here. And you're going to unscrew that, but remember to mark it before you take it off so you can see what you're doing. But this one is marked because it's been here so long. And then you're able to take. And then also, there's two fuel lines. One at the bottom and one at the side. You unhook those. What you do is you get this fuel line and you twist it. And it'll come off. And this one has a little clamp on it. So you have to take the little clamp off. Bring it down. And then take this off. And there's the carburetor. So, what you want to do next is get a nice small screwdriver that you know it's going to work, that won't scratch it up. You're going to get these 4 bolts off first. And these Toros have 2 different styles of carburetors, a Walbro and a Zama. Now this particular one is a Walbro because you can find it right there, right in here is where you can find Walbro or Zama. It could be a little different because these carburetors vary, so you never know. There's going to be a little gas coming out. There's your diaphragm. Now this one's not especially dirty, but it doesn't move anymore. This should be very pliable, and it's really not. It just happens over time. And then you just slowly peel this off, and then this is here. Remember the order your gaskets are in, and see if there's sticky stuff like this, you have to get it all off. And then this is where a flathead screwdriver comes in handy, because you can peel these back. Be very careful not to tear any of the gasket because then it gets really hard to get off. And then for this, I'm just taking this off because I'm doing an ultrasonic, but carburetor cleaning works too. I'll show you how to do both. And now what you do is when you take this out, you're going to give it a good squirt, and then remember to get in all the jets and all the nooks and crannies. And you want to get the plastic parts. Plastic parts you can't ultrasonic because it's not good for them. They get brittle and crack in a carburetor. And then you just have to scrape this off with some gasket remover. And now you're all done with this part. This is an ultrasonic cleaner, which is my personal favorite because it's a lot easier to use than carburetor cleaner. Just put the basket in, and you can use some Dawn. When you put the carburetor in, make sure there's no gaskets. Then you press the button. Now here's the main difference I like between carburetor cleaner. Carburetor cleaner doesn't get it this clean. It gets every little piece off. Carburetor cleaner doesn't really clean it as good. So I only had to do it about 2 minutes in there, maybe less. But there's results of ultrasonic cleaning. Now I'm going to start putting it back together. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention was how to get this needle out. Now it's got these two little clips in there, and what I did is I put this little tiny screwdriver in and popped it out, and then popped it out of this side. And make sure when you're doing it you're holding down the top so that this spring does not fly out, because you only get one of those. Okay, and another thing. The kit you want to get to repair this Toro is a K10 watt. The kit you want to get is a K10 watt kit. And what you do is you open it up, and you got a bunch of little parts in there, and almost all of them you will use. Make sure to line this dimple, this little dimple, right here, with this spring. And we'll see if I can show you. And it'll take you a couple tries. You push it right down in there. Push these in. And what you want to do to know you've done it right, this will be able to move freely, and then you want to center it at the top. It should be flush with the rest of the plastic. Now, what you're going to have to do is first, these gaskets right here come in contact like this. So we need to find the gasket that looks like that. And it comes, one of these gaskets. One rubber one goes in here. There are two of these you receive. One of them looks like this, one of them looks like this. This one is rubber. This is another way you can tell, and it's from a K20 watt kit. You put it over like this, and yeah, put on this, and then this goes, there should be a gasket that also looks like this at a K20 watt kit, which I'm going to grab out. But this one is still good, so I'm going to use it. This is not good because it's fully stamped in. So, because this one is still good, I'm going to put it on like this, and then put this new gasket on. And then this goes down. Meet these two up. They go over like this. And then, what you need is from a K20 watt, you will get one of these, which goes over. Goes over like that. And then a metering diaphragm. Which goes over like this. Now this side has a little dot in the middle that goes right on here. And that is now you know you placed it the right way. Carburetor's rebuilt like that. And put this on. Put the 4 screws in like this. Just put them gently and not to squish the gaskets yet, because you want to have all of them almost tightened down. And then you start tightening all 4 of them down, crossing until they're tight, but not too tight. And that's the bottom half. Now the top half goes in like this. And you line up the holes, and you move this a little until it lays down flat. And there's no gasket that goes here. So all you're going to do is take the 2 screws you took out, thread them back in, making sure not to cross thread them, and tighten them down equally. And that's your rebuilt carburetor. Now going straight from there to this, you're going to put this back on this way, the way you took it off. Thread the bolts through, and then put your gas hoses back, or your fuel lines, as some people like to call them. Put the tie back on. Put this back on. Seeing if I can push these hoses back down into the tank as much as I can. And then put your throttle cable in, remembering where you had it, and if you can feel indentations, that's right where it should go. And now I should have my Torx it down a little so you can fine tune it just a little. And keeping all this on, you're going to push this back on. And the Torx 20 will do what a Torx 27 will do, but you won't get as much grip. But I'm just using it now to tighten these up, to put them in. Now these are just like the other ones, you want to tighten them slowly. The 2 bolts that are in there. Now, I'm going to tighten these up. Use your ratchet to tighten them all the way down. Each a little at a time. And make sure your fuel lines went all the way down. And make sure this can pump fuel. And you should be good.